Just waiting to see some gameplay. Let's see. Let's see. Hasn't popped up yet on my end, but I did go live. Says we're live. Gotta love technology sometimes. Oh, alright. I see the ads going, so you know what that means. Alright, boys, we are live and ready to get this party started. What's going on, everyone? Welcome back to the Xbox Roundtable Podcast. This is show number 314, the place for Xbox talk. You know the drill by now, and we got lots of things to talk about. I'm Invader. I'm really hyped to get this started. Of course, we're going to start our coverage of the Xbox Games Showcase for this show. We are just ready to recap things, give our own personal reactions to all the announcements, likes, some of our dislikes and such. You know, we're gonna have a varied response, I would imagine. But yeah, it's gonna be a fun ride tonight, and considering all the stuff that got shown off, and hey, who knows, maybe what didn't, right? Because we were all expecting maybe some other things too. But first off, let me introduce the panel tonight, to introduce everyone for tonight's coverage. Starting off with Grimez. Grimez, great to see you, bud. How you doing?
Yo, how's everyone doing? Hopefully all of you guys enjoyed the showcase, and I missed you, all of you lovely people. Was super busy the last 2 weeks, so I couldn't make the show. I didn't even get to play anything other than Football Manager, but yeah, the showcase was dope, and we'll get more in depth in a little bit, but I even enjoyed I'm not gonna lie, I even enjoyed Call of Duty, and looking forward to playing the campaign. It looks sick.
Yeah. And yeah, you'll be able to play it with ease, right? With Game Pass. So
yeah, day one.
No less, yeah. But yeah, you're right. We will dive into that, and I certainly can't wait to hear your reactions to everything. Next up, Dots. Dots, what's going on?
Not much. Having a good time. Another wonderful Sunday night, and lots of good stuff to talk about. I mean, spoilers. I enjoyed the show. But yeah, we'll definitely dive into that. A lot to talk about. Lot to be happy about.
Indeed. Moving on over to Shockley. Eric, how you doing?
Good. After that show, ready to get into it, and but yeah, haven't gotten too much gaming this week, but or like new games. Been just finishing up, but yeah, ready to get into this show and what everybody liked. So.
Yeah, I can't wait to hear your thoughts on everything, and everyone else, of course, but it's interesting hearing the different perspectives from everyone. Next up, Crusader. Hey, bud, what's up?
I'm good. I am very tired. It's been a long day because I live casted the show itself with Noof Nukem, who sends his regards to all of the panel members, as well as with Crap Gamer, Moot, and Mooch.
Oh yeah.
I think this is like the third or fourth year in a row I've done the live casting with them. So that was a lot of fun, and Dots and I have been playing a lot of Destiny 2 Final Shape this week.
No way. You like Destiny? I never would have thought.
Let me tell you, they knocked it out of the park, man. We had like no hope this like 7 months ago for the expansion, and then like they dropped it, and it was complete and utter fire, like just excellent.
All right. I'm happy. No, I'm really happy to hear that. I know that you've been sharing a lot on social media about that, and you seem pretty happy. So
we had the longest raid race in the history of the game. It actually beat the last one that was previously like 17 hours long. This one was almost 19. And like once it was beaten, it unlocked the final mission of the campaign for everyone, which it was a perfect wrap up to the first 10-year saga.
All right. Well, that's impressive. I know. I'm really happy to hear that. I'm glad that it came together really well for you. All right. Good stuff. And rounding out tonight's crew, we got GeneralMLD. General, what's up?
Hey, doing pretty good. That was an amazing show. Gaming-wise, just wrapping up some games recently. Persona 3, Necromunda, which is a Warhammer-based game. And now I'm playing Immortals of Avium, which was one of those underrated gems of 2023 on Game Pass, which is a really, really good game. I'm really, it's unfortunate it was overlooked the way it was. I'm having a lot of fun with it. So, but otherwise, yeah, I'm ready to get into it. It's, the excitement's in the air.
You got that right, brother. Lots of excitement. And yeah, you know what? I'm not going to delay, really. Just a very, very quick reminder to everyone tuning in right now to share out the show. Give us a like, as it does help with things. But yeah, let everybody know that we are currently live now talking about the Xbox Game Showcase. It's going to be fun. It's going to be a real fun one, guys, tonight. But yeah, like I said, as I promised, I'm not gonna dilly-dally with this. Let's get right on into things. Let's move into the main event. And earlier today, we had the Xbox Game Showcase, where they unveiled a boatload of games. A bunch we had seen before, but we're given a new light, as well as some new stuff. We did get some new stuff as well. And I want to hear what everyone here has to say about the event, your likes, maybe some things that you thought could have been added, some dislikes maybe, or, just even if you want, just to give an overall rating on things. I know a lot of people do out of 10, but, just general feel for, your reaction overall for the show. GeneralMLD, why don't you lead the charge on this one? What were your overall impressions and reactions to this Xbox Game Showcase?
Okay, well, off the bat, I'm gonna give it a 9 out of 10. No showcase is perfect, but this came pretty close, I would say. Obviously, not every rumor is gonna be in the showcase. Like, we didn't see the handheld, although we're all pretty sure it is in development. We didn't see things like Banjo-Kazooie, and a couple of other rumors. But overall, you can only fit so much, and this is not the only showcase Xbox has this year. So that said, what we did see was, I feel like what we needed to see. We definitely got a win. Morale is pretty high, and Xbox is making great games, which is what we always wanted them to do. So, I mean, I'll just go off the top of my head from what we've shown, roughly in order, I feel. They start off with Call of Duty. This was a statement, shows that it's their game. It's back in an Xbox showcase where it belongs, and people will start to associate Call of Duty with the Xbox brand. And they stress that it will be equal across releases. So before, you had these sleazy PlayStation timed perks or full exclusive perks only for PlayStation users. Now it's equal for everybody, and that's nice to hear. PC and Xbox gamers now, and I guess Nintendo gamers, when the next Switch can handle a COD port, we'll get the same experience, and that's good to hear. And of course, they reiterated day one on Game Pass, which is unprecedented. It gives us such an edge and value. It's I'm definitely going to come back to Call of Duty after years of hiatus, and I'm sure I'm not alone in that too. And yeah, we're gonna maybe spend some money on the microtransactions in the store. So everyone who's saying the doom and gloom about being on Game Pass, forget about that. Let the corporation worry about that. I'm here to play some games. I'm here for a good deal, and Call of Duty gives me exactly that. It looks great. Much better than last year's, because I think this is a 4-year dev cycle, and it shows. I'm certainly pumped to play this campaign, and I'm not going to wait to do it. So I'm happy with that. And of course, they confirmed the rumors with Doom, the Dark Ages. This, I think, was one of the top 3 highlights for most people. Certainly for me. He had the Viking fur on the back of his suit. He had the chainsaw shield. That's crazy. I mean, like you think you saw it all with when Gears of War did the chainsaw bayonet, but then you see a chainsaw shield, and the gameplay looks good. The medieval setting looks dark and gritty. Even have these like medieval guns, like this gun that uses bullets of grinded skulls. Like, how do they think of these things? So then you got the what?
Well, they had you like riding the dragon too, or whatever it was. Yeah.
Yeah, that too. Like, okay, like we're doing some new things here. They found a way to make a medieval setting Doom still feel fresh and like a fast-paced first-person shooter. So, okay, I'm all for this. And again, like all Xbox first party, they keep stressing day one Game Pass. Fantastic. I don't even care that's multi-platform. Doom is one of those games. It's been around since the early 90s. Like, I even back years ago, Phil Spencer did say legacy titles would remain multi-plat, and I guess this would technically count as a legacy IP, even though it's a brand new game. In the end, the game is so awesome, I don't even care where it goes. I'm playing on Game Pass. I'm excited to play it. So that was a big highlight for a lot of people there. State of Decay 3. I'm glad they finally showed this game off. We heard about it since 2020. And so I'm glad we finally saw gameplay. It looks solid. It looks better looking because State of Decay 1, 2, it has a very, very active following. But let's be honest here, guys. The games were a little rough around the edges. They're not the best lookers, graphics-wise. But you can definitely see the improvement with this sequel here. Now, there's no date specifically, but at least seeing the game in action, you know that it's finally coming along. Like whatever dev troubles we kind of heard through the rumor mill, at least it's finally starting to pick up steam again. So that was nice to see. Starfield, of course, the Shattered Space DLC. We all knew this was coming, and they're dealing with finally the House Faroon, like the Great Serpent faction, which I myself was a little bummed out. I couldn't play more. Find out more about them in the base game, but now we will. The levels look great. The atmosphere looks great, and they dropped some additional content plus Creation Club today. So the game's finally coming along. Like all big Bethesda games, they get better with time, and I really do feel that Starfield will stand the test of time. Who knows, in a couple of years from now, this game will be totally different. I see a massive redemption arc with this game on top of the success they already had. So, yeah, I definitely see players coming back to Starfield. And then, of course, you have other DLC updates for newly owned Xbox IP. I mean, you have Fallout 76, World of Warcraft, Sea of Thieves, Diablo 4, Elder Scrolls Online. It really shows how much live service games Xbox has under its umbrella now. And people may roll their eyes at these, like we always see Sea of Thieves we always see Fallout 76. They're showing it for a reason. These games are still very much active, and especially coming off the Fallout TV show. So it's good that Xbox can lean on these live service games in a market that frankly is very risky. Like you got other guys like Sony making games like Concord. We don't know if that game's going to be a hit or miss. Whereas Xbox, they got these surefire hits that will make money for them years later. So that's good for them. Like in terms of sustainability, Xbox is pretty set with this. South of Midnight, I gotta say, I didn't know what this game would look like gameplay wise. I'm intrigued because I didn't play their last game. What's it called?
We Happy Few.
I didn't play it. It just didn't seem like the kind of game. It didn't gel with me. But this, okay, I can see myself playing it. Third-person adventure game. The setting looks interesting. The characters look interesting. Like these fantastical characters. Okay, all right. There's some like a little bit of Assassin's Creed in terms of like climbing buildings, and you got your magic spells. So it's a good mix of a lot of genres people like a lot of gameplay mechanics people like. And again, a game that had rumors of being in development trouble. It's nice to see gameplay, which tells us that, yeah, it's coming along nicely. So in 2025, not too far of a wait. actually a lot of games for Xbox are coming out next year now. So the overall message is that Xbox, the dry periods are over. We got a lot of games coming the second half of the year, and 2025 looks stacked already based on what we know right now. I'm glad they showed Age of Mythology. Obviously, it's not a mass market kind of game, but it does show their dedication to more niche genres and how they're. I think Xbox is almost single-handedly bringing back the RTS genre. It looks like a solid remake, and yeah, whoever it appeals to, I'm sure they're gonna love it. So I think that's in September. So there's that. Perfect Dark. I'm really hyped for this one. Actually, it's interesting. Like I played Mirror's Edge for the first time 2 months ago. Like it was on Game Pass. I finally decided, okay, it's on my backlog. I'll get to it. I definitely saw Mirror's Edge inspiration in the traversal here. So that was nice to see. So you have Mirror's Edge parkour, you have high-tech espionage, plus very interesting gun mechanics for an FPS. This game really does have a lot going for it. So I'm glad we showed it. It looks gorgeous too, and the story looks rebooted because it's interesting. In the original Perfect Dark, when the character is Daniel Carrington, he was your boss.
Yes.
But in this game, it looks like he's the bad guy. At least that was my impression. So I guess they reboot the story, but with the same character names. But either way, I'm sure the storyline will be good in its own right. But I'm sure we'll see a lot of callbacks to original characters and original gun designs from the N64 games. So at least, again, I'm happy we saw that too. Fable, they showed more of that. It looks like Fable. It sounds like Fable. They hinted at choice and consequence, which is, again, the pure essence of Fable. They showed Bowerstone, the main city hub from the Fable games. That got me smiling. The graphics, of course, are still as stunning as ever. Yeah, this game is one to watch. Playground, these guys do not miss at all. Like, people were skeptical that the Forza Horizon guys are making a Western RPG, but they're doing something right. I'm just as hyped for Fable as I am for their Forza Horizon games. Like, the Playground, I think, is one of Xbox's best buys in the last several years, by far. Flight Sim, I'm glad that's making this year. It's in November. Looks better too, because I remember back when I played the original Flight Sim, the further high in the sky, everything looks gorgeous, but the closer you get to the ground, it looked a lot boxy and a little low res. This time, they're kind of showing that the closer you get to the surface, it looks really, really good. So the last 4 years have done this game, this series very well. So it looks like it's an improvement in all these aspects. People said, oh, this is not a game, it's a sim. Well, there was aerial racing, and there was all these different jobs you can do with an aircraft. It seems like a video game to me now, and it leads into the sim aspects at the same time. Okay, another game I'm going to play day one. And then we saw 2 more games that we already seen, but they fleshed them out more. So Indiana Jones. What I like about Indiana is that it's gonna go. We go all over the world. Like, we're in the jungle, we're in the Himalayas, we're in the desert. Like, I really like a first-person shooter that has a lot of level variety. It just keeps things fresh, and yeah, the story looks good. It looks well written. And Indy, yeah, he's going to have the spotlight, as he should, in the Indiana Jones game. I'm excited to play this game. And Avowed, it looks better. It looks more cleaned up. Definitely one to watch. Obsidian, I don't think they miss either. They make great games. I'm glad we saw Stalker 2. That looks good as well. People complained that earlier builds were a bit choppy, but I feel like the extra delay did this game very well, and we're finally gonna get this game. And let's see. Oh yeah, digital Xbox consoles. So they reiterated their commitment to hardware, both refreshes for this gen, but also for next gen. So again, like, given all the prior rumors and backlash and whatnot, it's nice to hear that Xbox is still committed to hardware. We needed to hear that, even if this wasn't the time to show it. At least we know it's out there and it's coming. But of course, I gotta talk about the Gears E-Day. You see, we all thought they were gonna end this show with Gear 6, which we already knew that a Gears game was gonna be in the showcase, so it would have been like less hype because, well, we already know there's no surprise here. Oh, there was a surprise, all right. I don't know how they kept this under wraps. We all assumed it was Gear 6, but I'm seeing the trailer. I'm thinking, is that Marcus's kid? But the more I'm watching, I'm like, no, that's Marcus. And then of course you see Dom pick him up. Marcus puts on the bandana, and I got so excited. It is the prequel game all the original Gears fans have always wanted, have always asked for. This was the best surprise for something that we already knew from a leak that was coming.
Yeah.
So it's like, right, it's just so good.
Not to interrupt, but like, I have to agree with you that I was genuinely like surprised and genuinely like, I was like, oh damn, that's like really, really nice that they did that. Like, you know, we were hearing, like you said, Gears of War 6 or maybe like a Gears collection, right? And, you know, like, you know, everybody talks, oh, it would be awesome to see, you know, like an E-Day game. But, you know, just because we talk about it doesn't mean that it's going to happen. But I guess, you know, they obviously have the same conversations. And, yeah, I mean, I'll be curious to see how it goes gameplay-wise, if it stays, like, very similar to, like, the original game, or what it borrows from other ones. But I gotta admit, like, it opens up a lot. Like, you know, it was nice. It was really, refreshing to see that. Like, and it does kind of make me wonder about Gears of War 6 as well. How that's coming along. Because, you know, they gotta have it, like, in some kind of, like, a production
This is the
base.
next mainline game, by the way. Like, this is, quote, Gears 6.
That's
what they've said publicly. Like, this is the next mainline release. So, I don't think there is, like...
So maybe they'll make a new trilogy.
Gears Infinite?
Like, I don't think that they're actually making a sequel at this time to Gears 5.
Yeah, I mean, I would assume that they would do this game and potentially create a double trilogy going at the same time, and they would alternate between this one, and when they're done with this game, they would then go on to make Gear 6, and then back to Gears of War E-Day 2, or, you know, I'm just speculating, but there's definitely a lot of lore in this that they could make it more than one game. Because I actually used to be a really big Extended Universe Gears fan back in the day. There's actually several novels that are about this very event. And so I kind of already have an idea of what they would do and what they would talk about. I'm not going to spoil anything because, yeah, I kind of have that foresight now because I have read the books. But they could definitely make this more than one game. So Gear 6, let put that on the back burner. That's okay. Let them cook about that. Because there was that Gears 5 end of game choice. They got to figure that out. They got to pick a lane. They got to figure out which character to keep alive. But
it's already spoiled. Yeah, I remember that.
Right. So I don't. Yeah. Let's put that on the back burner. I want this game, and it makes up for the fact that we didn't get a Gears collection. I don't care. This game makes up for it. This is the best surprise we could have been given, because again, if we got Gear 6 to end the showcase, it would have been okay. But everyone's like, I mean, we kind of expected it. And guys, let's be honest here. We prefer, a lot of us actually, a lot of old Gears fans, we prefer the original cast to the new cast. So this makes the announcement all that much better. It's a love letter to the 360 era Gears of War fans. And like, hey, doing what the fans want. What a thing in gaming in 2024, right? It just seems like a lot of gaming these days, the fans' needs are kind of put secondary in various ways. And it's just fresh seeing that Xbox greenlit this. A game that just does what the fans want. Gives us the characters that fans want. And I think that, that just made the announcement that much more special. So, a strong showing for first-party Xbox here. And I'm not going to go into too much longer, but there were some third-party games that stood out. Dragon Age, Expedition 33, Metal Gear Solid. They show games like we saw already, like Flintlock. But overall, I mean, let's see here. there was 2 new in-game announcements, Doom and Gears. There was 9 first-party gameplay reveals, 6 DLCs for Xbox first-party games, and I counted there was 7 third-party day 1 games, and that includes Stalker 2, which we already knew about. But the 2 games that stood out to me was Expedition 33 and Atomfall. And yeah, like it's just the fact that they're on Game Pass immediately puts these games on my radar. If they weren't, I would have known about them, but I probably wouldn't have given them the time of day. But the fact that they're on Game Pass, these are day 1 plays for me. Easy. So they really showed up this time. They showed that Game Pass is indispensable. That it's just doing things that nobody else comes close to doing. So many day 1 games. No one else is doing that. First party, third party, not even close. The only cons I can think of, and these are nitpicks, I was hoping they would add Activision Blizzard games from the back catalog to Game Pass today. A lot of us thought that was an easy slam dunk because it's been several months now, but not the biggest deal because it's going to happen eventually, one way or another. So I'm not too hung up on that. I am curious though about Towerborn and Aura History Untold being absent, because those are also, Xbox published games that are supposed to be coming this year. So maybe they're saving that for another showcase in the summer. I don't know. I hope they're not delayed into 2025. I mean, Towerborn's not exactly a demanding game. It's a side-scroller beat-em-up, right? So I just hope those games are still on track. But
MLD, I'm sorry to interrupt you, but Towerborn did tweet today that they say we can't wait to share more info about Towerborn later this summer.
Okay. Maybe Gamescom?
Okay. Probably Gamescom.
Okay, that actually makes sense to me, because it wouldn't be at QuakeCon or BlizzCon. So
Gamescom not happening this year.
Yeah, no BlizzCon.
BlizzCon.
Oh yeah, that's right. You're right. Yeah, so Gamescom would make sense. So other than those 2 absences, yeah, I feel like this might have been their best show ever. It's just back-to-back trailers, minimal executive talking, just back-to-back games. Exactly what I wanted to see. And even the haters struggled to spin this in a negative way. The only thing people can really say is that they weren't clear on what was exclusive and what wasn't. And to that I say, Xbox is still figuring things out. We know this. I personally believe that some games will be exclusive, some will be timed, some will be day one multi-plat. That's just how their business is these days. But end of day, if the game is great, it's on Game Pass day 1, my gaming would be exactly the same regardless who else gets to play it. And if the games are great, that's all I always wanted in the first place. So, yeah, that's it.
All
I'm
right.
a happy camper.
Sounds like Xbox did pretty good for you then, overall. All right. Yeah, no, I mean, I enjoyed quite a bit from it. Like, I did enjoy some of their first party that they showed, but I'll admit I wasn't as thrilled as some other years, like with comparison to some of their third-party offerings. I'll say that much. Not that they didn't have some good stuff there. Like yourself, I'm a MLD. I really enjoyed what I saw from Expedition 33. It looks like a really solid, like, gameplay-wise, like a JRPG style, and the visuals look great. So, that one really caught me off guard. That one looked pretty good. But yeah, I want to get more thoughts in here. And guys in the chat, let us know what you enjoyed, or maybe some criticisms, just your opinions overall. I'd really like to hear them. But yeah, let's...
Well, do you have a, number or letter score that he gave it?
Didn't he give it like a
9 out of 10?
Yeah.
9 out of 10? Okay.
Something like that.
I gave it a 9.
Which, yeah, pretty good.
That's okay.
Pretty good overall. Yeah, I mean, he had, some slight criticism, so I understand. I know I'm a little pickier. I'll probably give mine, towards the end of the show, but, Yeah, no, that's fair. That's fair. Let's see. I want to get more thoughts here. Dots, why don't we go over to you next? I would love to hear your thoughts on the show. Do you agree with what MLD was saying? You got like any particular ones that really stood out to you? Please, you got the floor.
Yeah. Overall, I like the show. I think the pacing of it was good, and it was decently long enough. It wasn't too short. Um, Out of the games that really interest me, the first one was the Doom game. I think everything about it just screamed like, over the top, and I loved every second of it. I mean, yeah, like the the skull grinder shotgun thing, the friggin' get Doom guy going into the Doom guy Gundam, and it's gonna be giant robot battles against demons, and then riding a freaking dragon. Like all of it was so abysmally over the top, and that's exactly what Doom has turned into, and I love it. I love every moment of it. There's not a negative thing to be said about that. And his cape looks fantastic. I love it. The skins in that game are gonna be great. Um, I would say next on my list of interest, Expedition 33 actually piqued my interest. I'm not the biggest like turn-based brawler. Like I know that that's like it's like a Persona thing, and I know Honkai Star Rail has the same general combat style, but like the aesthetic and the idea of it was really interesting to me, and so like that definitely has piqued my interest. I'm definitely looking forward to that. Metal Gear Solid Delta Snake Eater, like that's just it doesn't, it sounds like it sounds like a lot of it's just going to be like um uh reusing the voice lines from the original game, so it is just mostly a graphical overhaul. But I mean, it's one of the best Metal Gear Solid games. I'm going to emphasize on the solid part. Um, Ever made. And like, there's a guy on YouTube I follow who does Metal Gear content, and he has replayed that game so many times. It's just a treasure of a game. So I can't wait to see like how everything turns out. If we're playing the essentially the full release of the pachinko machine version with that game, with the high end graphics with that. So looking forward to that. Obviously, Age of Mythology retold, super duper happy, beyond happy, um mega happy. uh yeah, no, I can't wait for that. That's obviously, on the RT. Not only is it on the RTS list, but it is probably one of the earliest RTSs I've played. I mean, I remember playing StarCraft 1 because of my older brother. That's definitely like most likely the first no, Age of Empires 2 was the first one I ever played. Then StarCraft was kind of my own thing, and then Age of Mythology was kind of like my true, like, I actually know how to play an RTS and not be trash at it. Age of Mythology, and that got me into, my early age of, oh man, I really like mythological gods and whatnot. Everyone has those phases when you're younger. I know Crusader has it, like oh, you're into dinosaurs at one point, or maybe you're into trains another point, or oh, I have this big book about the galaxy and I love looking at Jupiter, Saturn. I think the stars are cool. You get into that science phase. Yeah, no, Age of Mythology put me in that mythology phase. It's like, oh man, the Greek gods are really cool, the Norse gods are really cool, Egyptian gods, before mainstream media turned them into, oh, it's all Marvel or DC or the Gods of Egypt movie. But no, I'm really looking forward to that, and the fact that we're definitely getting new content, like brand new content that wasn't in the base game, because I think they already showed like there's a pre-order bonus for Freyr for Norse mythology as a buff, or one of the gods you can choose when you're going up through the ages. and then there's 2 expansions coming out for it, which does not include the Titans expansion because that's going to be in the base game from what I'm seeing. The Atlanteans and all 4 of the factions Titans are going to be in the base game of Retold. And so whatever these 2 expansions are brand new. I don't know if they're going to use that the Japanese mythology thing from the final DLC that no one liked because it was all bad and reskinned and not actually it just kind of came out of nowhere as a cash grab from my viewpoint. But no, I mean adding more to each of the factions, more gods, which means more god powers, maybe they'll add more cheat codes because I mean I love some of the cheat codes were great because I remember Wovwoo. You made like a flying purple hippo that like pooped out rainbows and like spat hearts on their enemies. Oh Canada made like a grizzly bear with a Canadian flag cape on its back, and he has like 2 little monkeys and he shoots lasers out of his eyes. It made no freaking sense, but it was the coolest shit ever back when I was a kid. So I'm really looking forward to everything that that game's gonna bring out to us, and we were just hitting PC and Xbox. I think the age guys finally got that on tap now that it's like we can get that RTS on both PC and console right out the gate after enough testing with Age 2 and Age 4. So I think that's great. I think that that's going to be a huge jump into the future of RTSs on console. Which we've come a long way since Universe at War. Whoo! That was a game. But then obviously into Halo Wars being the big one. But now Age of Empires, Age of Mythology, all on the console probably right out the gate in the future. I know Age 4 is still their newest one. They'll probably be supporting that for a couple of years before we even get into an Age 5. But yeah, no, RTSs are eating well. RTS players are eating good right now. So I'm happy about that. Next on my list for the showcase, the Indiana Jones trailer. Like, I forgot I was watching a video game. Like when the guy started monologuing about like, oh, American cartoons, oh, you guys do silly laughs and jokes and you eat piss beer, and I'm like, I'm literally watching an Indiana Jones movie right now, like step for step, and I loved it. Like just watching that, and like even if I don't get the game for whatever reason, I would watch the cutscenes and just I'm sure it seems like the writing for it's so great. It's gonna be an Indiana Jones movie with gameplay. So that honestly, that trailer sold it more than the previous trailers before, because like I was invested with like that level of oh, I'm the villain, I'm gonna monologue to you while your friend in the back that I don't know is they're gonna do something silly, or her doing the switcheroo with the stone and just giving him a live grenade. Like that, it felt like I was into the movie, like the good original 3 movies. So I was all about that. So yeah, no, really looking forward to seeing more about that. I'm really happy with what I'm seeing so far. My skepticisms earlier are vanishing, because like that just made me happy. Like I had a big smile on my face watching that. And then the last thing on my list of my interests is Mecha Break. I'm a little skeptical at this point. Like the flashiness of the first time we saw news about it is gone, and I'm kind of looking at a little bit more skeptical. But there is a beta coming out for it in August, so I hopefully that's gonna relieve the tension. That's gonna show me what this game's about, because I'm worried that like it looks cool, it looks fast paced, but it also looks like there's a lot going on, and I want to make sure that's actually part of the real gameplay. want to make sure that there isn't going to be some cash grabbingness, that there's not going to be, like, oh, this is there's another mecha game that came out recently that it's a 6v6 mode type PvP thing, and that's what I'm gonna hate. Is this could be the coolest mecha game on the block recently, but if it's all gonna be PvP stuff, that's not really my take. I am not a PvP guy. I avoid it when I can. I as funny enough that with Destiny has a new Pathfinder thing, and like instead of having to do stuff in all three of the ritual activities, which is Strikes, Crucible, and Gambit, you can do a path of, oh, I can avoid Crucible entirely, and that is exactly what I've been doing, because Crucible is the PvP thing for those who don't know. I've been avoiding that, and I don't have to do it anymore, which is great, because I like playing with my friends. I don't like playing against people who happen to have more time on their hands, or in some cases more money on their hands, depending on their game. So I'm skeptical, but you know what? A beta in August will hopefully hype me up, or put the nail in the coffin of if that game's going to be for me or not. But overall, very happy to see Game Pass was going to be thriving over the rest of this year and going into next year. I can't wait. I'm still not really on the Call of Duty bus yet. Taking a small page out of Crusader's book, a lot of Activision Blizzard backlog catalog stuff that hasn't been brought up yet.
Yes.
Really hoping for that. I'm really hoping for that. I mean, I can just only imagine if StarCraft 2 hit console. Like, that'd be freaking fantastic. But at the same time, they need to give it more content. They haven't given StarCraft new content. They don't even put StarCraft in BlizzCon anymore. You know how frustrating that is for me? So, overall, I'm going, just because of my, I would say a 7.5 out of 10. I give it really good marks. The issue is a lot of the big hitters, I'm not the hugest fan of. Like I said, I haven't played a Call of Duty game since Ghosts, and I've been pretty adamant about that because I just haven't been a fan of and you know what? And if that back catalog comes up and all those games hit Game Pass and they're all free, you bet your dollar I'm gonna, play through those campaigns I've missed through, because I've heard good things about Advanced Warfare and Infinite Warfare. I love seeing the videos of that one robot that's like Evan. I think it's Ethan. Yeah, I've heard a lot of good things, and like he seems like a fun character. So stuff like that. Like I don't hate Call of Duty. I just haven't been a fan, is all. Since Black Ops 2 is the best one in my opinion, hands down. And then Gears, I mean, I'm happy for the Gears community. I'm gonna be brutally honest. I've only played the Horde mode of Gears 3, and that is the only. And that's the only Gears content I ever played, is Horde mode from Gears 3. So, if a Gears collection did come out, hell yeah, I would actually give it a shot and go all the way from 1 to 5, like all the way into it. Like, I'd be down for that. But at the current moment, I have technically not really played a Gears game. So I'm happy for the Gears fans. The trailer looked good. At the very end of the trailer, I could hear that piano tapping of all around me are familiar faces going on in the piano, really, like, very subtle. I like that. Or it was a Hello Darkness, My Old Friend. I don't remember. It was one of those two.
World, I think.
It was the cover of Mad World that was playing.
Yeah.
Okay, yeah.
What is it, Jules?
They
something?
knew what they were doing.
Yeah. What's the guy's name? The guy who did the cover of Mad World that everyone loves, Jules something.
I forget.
I know what you're.
Been
Yeah,
so many years.
Because it's not the original version. Everyone's like, when the Tears for Fears version comes on, they're like, "This is a weird cover of the song," and I'm like, "No, it's the
Gary
original."
Jules.
Gary, that's it, Gary Jules.
So no, that's my overall take on the show. A lot of good stuff to come out of it, and a lot of excitement to be had. So yeah, 7.5 out of 10. I think that's a solid grade for what I saw.
Yeah, and that's understandable. Like, you and me have, like, way different, like, well, I mean, okay, we come together in some taste, but, like, you have different focuses where I have different focuses, right? So, obviously, you were tuned into more...
you like blue aliens that are, pussies in melee combat, and I like indestructible robots that you can't kill. Like, it's...
I don't like the movie Avatar. What are you talking about? But yes, I know what you're referring to.
Dirty towel player.
Oh boy, we're gonna lose the chat if I talk about any more 40K. But yes, you are correct. I am. But yeah, no, that's fair, Dots. That's fair. Yeah, I can understand where you're coming from there. Let's see. I want to get more thoughts and opinions here. Eric Shockley, why don't we go to you next, and then I'll go over to Crusader and then Grimez. Shockley, buddy. Again, like, you've heard what Dots and what MLD have been saying, a little bit of my commentary as well. Yeah, what did you think of the showcase? Likes, dislikes? I know that you were commenting in our chat there. You were looking forward to some stuff and it didn't show up. But yeah, please share with us, what are your thoughts?
Yeah, overall, it was a pretty good show. Especially, it was good they got caught out of the way at the beginning, just to kind of get that one, or not really. The news already kind of broke as far as like it going to Game Pass and all that stuff. So they kind of let stay after the show to check the in-depth on that. But that looks pretty good. The Doom game, yeah, that looked definitely sick. That was, for a lot of people, I think that was like their, at least for the first half before they, we heard about the Gears announcement, because obviously, like most people said, they were expecting like Gears 6, but when that Doom game dropped and how it looked, most people's reaction that I saw was they're kind of blown away. But it is kind of bittersweet. Like, I don't care personally, like in the sense that, hey, I have a PS5. I have, I've had one since day one. I've had pretty much a PlayStation all through, just not like a PS1 and PS3 during those gens, but every other gen I've had a PlayStation. So obviously, I buy a lot of the day one games there. But it going to PS5 just seems like your first game from id, from from this developer. Why, I don't know, it just seems like you should have just put that game first on Xbox, at least for a timed exclusive. If you think about it, was it Indiana Jones? That's going to be exclusive. And it just seems like weird. And now the comments from Phil about, you're going to see a lot of our games going over there, and it just seems like, okay, I get it, and I'm totally fine with it, and it's to a degree, but when it's just kind of this too much like ambiguous, just kind of open-ended, where it's just like not a clear line. Like, we know what kind of games are for PlayStation that are going to be exclusive or not. At least we have an idea. Bungie games, MLB, stuff like that,
right,
will be like multi-plat. So it's just, you want to still at least they talk about hardware is the big thing for them, like future hardware, like it's really important, but it's like, are people still going to be buying the hardware, or buying these new editions of this console when they can get those games day one? Not even it would have been one thing if they make it like at least a few months exclusive, a year or something, but when they know they can get the same games day one. So I don't know. Obviously, I think they're going to draw a line. I don't think, like, at least I don't think Gears like E-Day would be day one, but they have not for some games been releasing like what platforms they're on. So it's just like kind of like with the Blade game when they announced it. So it's just like, is this game going or? So it's just that part just kind of like is the only kind of bittersweet part of that announcement for Doom. But overall, it looked fantastic, especially with was it like a chainsaw shield that he was wielding, and then like the flying, and that game looked pretty. It just overall looked fantastic. It's definitely in their bag. They're cooking. Some of the other games, I kind of broke mine up into like what was coming out like this year as far as like in Game Pass day one.
Mm-hmm.
So if you think about it, they have it pretty loaded. Obviously, Diablo's not going. The DLC is not going to Game Pass, so that part is extra. But you obviously have the base game. But obviously they have COD, which looks great. But Stalker, glad we got an update on that and a release date. Looks fantastic. That one's kind of been a looker and has looked great since the day one they first showed the first teaser trailer. So that's never really had a bad look. Or Indiana Jones still looks great. I think some people were upset about its combat. I can see kind of there is kind of this like slowness with the combat, but I think that's more of just like the character, like this professor, like in the movies, like he's not like super fast, like fist fighting, like so. But I don't know. We'll kind of see it in action. There is something that kind of looks not, I wouldn't say off about it, but I do like the whip action. That looks pretty cool. I think it's more kind of like what we'd say with Hellblade when you compare Hellblade 1's combat, where it's kind of like faster and not as like realistic, whereas like the second one is more like brutal and like slow, like how you would be like fighting. If you're beating up a bunch of people, you're going to have some fatigue. So I don't know. Overall, that looks pretty good. Awesome. That's going to be in Game Pass also this year. Flintlock looks sick. I think when they first showed off that game a year or two ago or so, it looked pretty good, but some of the gameplay mechanics with I don't know if it's like flying where you're like you can turn into the fox for a second and for some of the movements, and just some of the aerial combat, and then you can come down, like that looked pretty sick. Obviously that one's Game Pass. Avowed looks better than what they showed off last year. It looked good last year, but I feel like they cleaned it up a little bit in this trailer. Starfield Shattered Space, that looks sick. Kind of reminds me of like a horror theme, like obviously the same game, but like with that DLC, just looks like kind of gives you like a Dead Space or kind of like horror vibe to it. I need to definitely delve back into that a lot more, spend a little bit more time into that, but because I barely cracked that one. But overall, that looked great. So I don't believe that one's going into Game Pass, but or the DLC. I think pretty much that's been their go-to, other than like Hive Busters, and I think a few others they've obviously given us. But seems that like that's their MO, is like Diablo, put the game in Game Pass and then make some money on the DLC.
Yeah, I think
but that's
did it for Hive Busters
and Persona.
ODST and Halo Reach.
Persona 3,
Persona was a perk of Game Pass.
Yeah, perk.
So
Yeah,
like it wasn't
true.
actually in Game Pass.
So one thing for all the people that bought the expansion pack, we will be getting it. Because there was that upgrade
No,
for $30
that included the 3 seasons
for okay.
The first 3 seasons. I do not believe it includes the expansion.
Okay.
Yeah, probably definitely not. Usually Diablo, you have to buy those expansions. So I was disappointed. They showed off WoW early, and I was just like, oh, come on. I think I was watching Oh No, It's Alex stream, and he was getting me hyped up like, oh, just do it. And I'm like, oh, this would be so sick if they announced that for Xbox. Like, and only well, even if like just like right now, hey, Xbox for now, and then that would just be a awesome perk. That would be a sick move. But next year they have a great lineup with Fable looks great. Even because it was almost, it wasn't like too lighthearted like when we last saw it. It gave you that comedic effect that you kind of have seen in the past Fables, but this kind of gave it almost like a much like darker, like grittier vibe that I didn't think we were gonna get from it. So it looked really good. Some of this they didn't show too much combat, or too much gameplay, but there was snippets here and there again. But great that it's coming out next year. Some of the other games, Expedition 33, awesome. That one looks sick. I think that's been a standout from most people that I've seen. So also, that's the great thing that they are at least doing, even if we're, losing some exclusive. And it's sad that it might go that way. I feel like they're still going to keep some exclusive. Like they kind of have to know they have to keep some of the like mainstays. But they are locking down a lot of like third party indies, or just like kind of like AA for Game Pass, which is sick. So if you look at all that they showed and that everything that's going in Game Pass, like they're kind of fulfilling what we've been waiting for, like with Game Pass, of just like constant, every couple months they're gonna have, if it's not AAA, a solid AA game.
I gotta agree with you. One of the things I said, if they wanted to go full multi-plat, was they had to double down on investment into Game Pass, and they showed that today for sure.
Oh yeah, for sure.
For sure.
Was it Wu Chang?
Yeah,
that was another great looking game.
Yeah.
Just with its whole vibe and just like Chinese, I don't know what you want to say, aesthetic, or just like setting and lore, kind of like the art style from that looked really good.
Mm-hmm.
Perfect Dark, it was great that we finally saw that. Obviously we've been hearing for so long, it's a shit show, people are leaving, they don't know what they're doing, they're pulling Crystal Dynamics, they have no idea, it's a disaster. And obviously we've heard for some people saying like, like Nate the Hate, he was saying like, yeah, that's not what I'm seeing at all. And that, things have, sure, it was rough early on when they were trying to like, bring this game back from, 2005, and trying to like, how are we going to establish this? But the whole like Mirror's Edge aesthetic / like Deus Ex feel to it, that looks sick. Loved Mirror's Edge. That was a blast. So that kind of gives it kind of that, standout, just gameplay style. You didn't really have that in like the old ones. So it does make something different. Then it's not just Deus Ex or Mirror's Edge. It has a myriad of those different things. And I'm sure I'll have some other things that make it kind of stand out. So that's definitely dope. Sucks that we didn't get a release like year, but they'll probably, I'm guessing that could be like probably borderline late, possibly next year, maybe like early 2026. So that's probably why they haven't given a release year. But obviously Gears of War E-Day, that looks sick. At first, I think I missed the part of the stream when he was wearing the do-rag. I think I just missed it when I was watching it on my screen. So at first I was like, wait, that looks like JD maybe just grew his hair out, because he does kind of look like a JD with his hair. But then at first when I got to where Dom picked him up, and I'm like, because I was still thinking it was JD, and then I see Dom picked him up. I'm like, are they doing like something like Ghost, or he's like having a drink? Like, I didn't know what was going on, but then it made sense once they showed the helicopter going up above. I'm like, oh crap, that's Dom, obviously, once he put the do-rag back on. But you could kind of, I just remember playing from the first games with all the Pendulum Wars and all that lore. I was like, oh shoot, this is going to be prequel. This is going to be, right before they even put the title screen on there. I was like, this is going to be, directly that. And they might actually do some of probably the Pendulum Wars, maybe, just part of it. Maybe like a few, maybe like the first chapter. You might touch base on that right before Emergence Day, because you can kind of see in the apartment, it's like welcome back from those wars. So I think they had just got finished with that from what I remember in the like the Gears lore. But that looks sick. It gives you kind of that horror vibe that the first one did. The first one gave us, which is great. It's kind of getting us back to those roots, and it looks phenomenal. I saw a guy from, forget his name, on I think he's a developer artist at Coalition, but he was talking about how like everything that you saw was, using Unreal Engine 5, and they were using the same like in-game character models. And so he's saying a lot of what you're seeing there is what you're visually going to be seeing, at least for the, with how the characters look, when the game releases. So hopefully that's and we saw Hellblade 2 kind of nail it with how it looks. So it's like, and how experts they are, and they're the ones that actually helped with that Matrix demo. So I definitely not going to doubt them, because I think Jeff Keighley was saying it was a CG, just like purely like CG trailer, and then not to take anything. It just seemed like it might be taking away from it, and that's when the that dev responded, saying no, he's actually using like the in-game models and assets. Snake Eater, that looks phenomenal. Metal Gear Solid 3, definitely between that and the second one, between my faves. I would say the third one, just because just the story, and you get to play as obviously Snake the whole game. But that looks sick. I hope they, after this, I'm sure this is going to do well, but hopefully they do at least the first and second game. That would be dope with this style. It is still odd that they picked 3, but I guess they might be just seeing it as doing, chronologically, technically this would be like the first, if we're not counting like, I think this would be the first, and then like if they wanted to touch Peace Walker, but I doubt it. But that looks dope. Assassin's Creed looks really good. That was definitely, at first I was like, oh, this game looks really sick, and then I was like, oh, that's the it took me a second, because I haven't touched an Assassin's Creed game in ages, so I was like, but yeah, that one definitely looks dope with that setting, like samurai. Let's see here. One thing I didn't like about the hardware, obviously, it sounds like they're not having a plan on, would you say, like a pro model, but it is going to be, it's a good value, or I wouldn't say good value, but you can understand the $600 price one, but it is going to be weird if it's on the market and there is a PS5 Pro and they somehow price it at $600. It just seems like they could set themselves up for that, but
so that is a limited edition model, the $600.
Yeah, that's what I figured. I figured it would be more like this SpongeBob thing where that was like $700, and then it was sold out in 2 seconds.
It's a limited edition model because it says while supplies last, special edition.
Oh, okay.
So like that is going to, they're gonna make so many, and they're gonna sell that many, and that's it.
Oh, okay. Well, that's, but it's cool. They're offering you, a low. I think the digital was only like $50 off, but it would have been cool. Yeah, it would have been cool if they matched the digital version price for PS5, especially when you're behind and you want to probably move some units when you're like down 2-1. But I mean, hopefully they have some way to counter if like that does happen, because that's the other thing. When they said about they wanted, about even when they bought Bethesda, they wanted you to feel first class. The best place to play their games was Xbox, at least on console. But it is going to be weird when Doom drops next year, and if PS5 PS5 Pro is out, obviously that's not going to be the best place to play, and that's just gonna be kind of odd. And there's going to be, obviously they don't, corporate bosses aren't going to care about, so much at console war, but man, that's going to be a lot of salt on Twitter. If it's like, look at all these games that Microsoft's putting on PS5 Pro and it's playing better. We already see that, like, from a from a like frames or frames per seconds might be a little bit higher on one console. But usually there's a concession to that. But obviously, if there's a Pro model, then there's probably going to be a clear landslide winner. Like when you're comparing the next Doom game, if there is if there is indeed a Pro model of PS5 coming out. So, but yeah, definitely.
Shockley,
at least my
Shockley,
go ahead.
did you see the PlayStation removed the 8K from the boxes of the PS5s?
Yeah, and someone did make a comment about that, saying that's probably because they might put it on the next console, but I don't know. That way they
I don't
could at
even
least
think the next console will be able to do 8K.
Yeah, because no one's. I think there's only been one dev that's like.
One game.
Yeah, so if anything, they're setting themselves up for like a, I don't know, lawsuit or some type of class action thing. But sucks we didn't see more.
It's 6K.
Yeah. Oh yeah, that's true. And then super sample it down.
It's super sample down, yeah.
Sucks we didn't see. I thought we were going to see Replaced because Paris was. I think it was Paris was, or no, it was Iron Lord. Was it David?
I saw that there was a Replace there.
I was like,
yeah.
Well, that's definitely gonna be at the show, or maybe we're just gonna see that really soon. And but sucks we didn't see Contraband or Clockwork Revolution. Yeah. I wasn't too worried about OD because we did just see some of that like 6 months ago.
It's interesting that you bring up Clockwork because like when they showed it off last year, I'm like, oh, I mean, it must be
that game. Look, I was like, oh, is it gonna be ready in a year? Basically.
Yeah.
I thought maybe it might release like late this year or something, but
I was shocked because
maybe
they
we'll get another.
Started a weird ad campaign for
that. Yeah, like you pointed it out last week.
Yeah.
Hey, like, oh, okay. So you tweeted.
I didn't have expectations for it to be here, but then I did because they started tweeting.
Well, it was weird because
listen at a tweet that doesn't, ambiguous tweet like a week before the show. Okay, that seems weird. Mm-hmm. But maybe we'll see something more news. Maybe they'll do another show later this year. But yeah, I would say, man, they definitely hit it out of the park. This is definitely their best show. Like people have said, like maybe ever. I think they would have definitely had best show period. I think if Doom had just been like that one other exclusive right off the top. But I guess we'll see which games they pick and choose. They're just really loose with their words now of like, well, you'll see a lot more games coming to other platforms now. When he just did his interview with Ryan McCaffrey, when they were asking him specifically why Doom was on that console, and he said, well, it's been on many consoles, so that felt like we can't lock that one away. So does that mean Elder Scrolls? Does that mean Fallout?
I guarantee.
And we all thought like, hey, those are going to be exclusive, is what you said when you bought Bethesda, and what you said in the court of like, you weren't even. I mean, they didn't say specifically Elder Scrolls, but they also didn't say, hey, why wouldn't you just say it then? I get it, maybe things changed or something, but
I mean,
it's like you risked like a $70 billion acquisition going down the drain when 6 months later or a year later. Yeah, sure. Doom.
I'll be very curious. I'll be very curious, Eric, what kind of numbers Doom does in Game Pass and how that does for it, and that'll be very telling, I think, too.
Yeah, I guess that's their angle. I'm sure it's going to do numbers because it looks way. It looks, not that the other Dooms didn't look great.
No, but it looks good.
Way better than those.
You know what? I won't even say better, but like, I enjoyed them all. Like for, and or at least,
it just has a different feel to it other than just like that bro shooter.
But
which I mean, people love the other two Doom games. And I've played them. They're fun.
It looks
but
ready.
this kind of has a different feel. Yeah.
Well, it looks
Yeah, that
ready
too.
and it looks fun, you know? Like, we actually, like, full gameplay, like, and they showed, like, so many different exciting moments, right? Like, you know, they showed, like, oh my gosh, I want to step into that right now, you know? Like, it's like, oh, there was, like, mech combat? I'm like, oh my gosh, yes, give me that. Like, it really got me excited, you know? So,
But yeah, definitely, I'll just leave it my last word here. Yeah, definitely my highlights. Gears of War. I'm super hyped. I hope we get a date on that, or at least a release window of year or something soon. Just seeing that in Unreal, that's just getting me hyped. Possibly seeing that, or seeing. Obviously, we're going to see an Unreal Engine 5, but from what we saw in Hellblade, so I would say that one, Flintlock. Yeah, Expedition 33 and Wu Chang. Those are probably like my big highlights, other than the first party stuff. So, but yeah, those are my 2 cents. But yeah, hopefully we'll get more dates, and hopefully, especially Avowed, because I think they just released that date and then they took it off.
Yeah,
So
yeah,
hopefully they were like, hey, we're not sure about that date yet, and then hopefully we get it soon. So
I mean,
we'll see.
Looking at the dates, I mean, that wouldn't be terrible. Because I think COD launches late October, and Flight Simulator, I think, is November 19th. So yeah, I mean, they could pull it off, I think. Yeah, that would be an alright time frame, I think. But yeah, guys, Shockley, good stuff. Loved your thoughts there. Guys, everybody tuning in, we're having a pretty awesome chat surrounding the Xbox Game Showcase. If you haven't done so already, please smash the like button and share with the show. Again, we would love to have more awesome people here with us, sharing their opinions. And guys, it's been a really fun looking at the chat tonight. Lots of various thoughts. Thanks for being here tonight, guys. All right, moving on to Crusader and then Grimes. Crusader, I know you've been patiently waiting to dive in here. So, Crusader, thoughts, opinions, concerns, whatever it may be, please share your thoughts.
Yeah, I'm going to give my score first. I'm going to talk about what kept it from getting a 10, and then I'm going to go into the individual games. So first off, I gave it a 9 out of 10. What kept it from getting the first 0.5 was the actual expectation of Activision Blizzard back catalog games. Like, where are they at this point? Mm-hmm. It's been months. Like, we're approaching like 9 months. Mm-hmm. Where is like the first big drop? Because like we've only had Diablo 4.
Now, did they mention anything about like, oh, we're gonna share some stuff later on in like the next couple of days? No.
Nope. And I was really shocked that, like, with Black Ops, that they didn't just say straight up, like, right now, go ahead and get caught up on the story and play the first 5 Black Ops games. Granted, I think one of them doesn't have a campaign, but you get my point. Like, that, like, the first drop wasn't just, like, Call of Duty Black Ops, the drop. You know what I mean? So, like, missing that, and then not having dates for several of the 2024 games is the other thing that keeps it from the first, like, half a point. And then the other, like, to get above a 9.5 for me in, like, any of these shows, you really do have to, like, do something that, like, even if it leaks, you have to do something that, like, no one would see coming, right? And I just don't feel like there was something at this event that, like, no one saw. Like, that like, made me go, oh, wow. Like there really wasn't that, like, out of left field punch, because it's been like, even like Gears of War, even it's been so long since there's been a Gears of War. That's eventually something that just has to happen, right? Like that, like, as a one more thing, that's not an interesting one more thing for me.
I'll be honest, just to interject quickly, I'll be honest, I was actually kind of hoping there would be like some kind of little Halo tease, but alas.
Yeah, even that wouldn't be like a major thing. It would have to be like, Fable coming back from the dead was a great one more thing way back when. That was a one more thing, wasn't it?
I think so. Yeah, I think they review. Yeah, the CG. Yeah, that's right. It was
like,
at the end.
Like there was just there just wasn't something that was like, oh, holy shit, right? And so that's what keeps it from the other 0.5. But like, it was the best showcase this year, and it was probably Xbox's best showcase ever, right? Like, it was really good. Call of Duty was certainly more Call of Duty. I don't know what more to say about Call of Duty than it was more Call of Duty, except for round-based zombies is back. We stay winning.
Yeah, that was nice to see.
I'm a big enjoyer of the round-based zombies. Flight Sim 2024. I mean, it's more Flight Sim. For Flight Sim enjoyers, it is more Flight Sim. Fable looked awesome, like incredible. Indiana Jones looked incredible. I thought that the cutscene that they were showing, like that story moment, went on a little too long, but like it looked really good. I would have liked to see more of the actual like moment to moment gameplay that wasn't just like cut up. Let's see. I'm just looking through the list right now. Gears of War. I'm in the other boat because I actually like the newer ones more than the old ones. Granted, I played all 6, not including Tactics, all 6 of the existing Gears of War games, including Judgment, like back to back, like 2 years ago it was my first time playing any of them, and I really, 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 really liked Gears of War's 5's campaign. And then I really, 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 really liked Gears of War Highbusters. So like I'm sad that they're like not continuing that era right now because it's going to be like a decade until that's continued then. Because you know it took them how long to move to Gears of War E-Day from Gears 5 or even from Highbusters? Like what? This is 4 years now.
It's an interesting pivot, right?
Yeah, like it's gonna be a while before like they could ever go back to that story. So I'm kind of on how long that's gonna be to wait. But like visually, like the cinematics that were made by Blur there looked really good. They were rendered in real time in Unreal Engine by Blur using assets made by the Coalition. So that was really, really good looking, and like it is a vibe, right? Like they were playing the iconic. Everyone knows the Mad World from Gears of War. Even me, who didn't play it in the era, knows that trailer. That trailer is awesome. So like really, it was. You know, I understand why they had that as the one more thing. Like I understand why they chose it for that. Dragon Age: The Veilguard. Not a fan of that trailer. Still gonna play it at launch. I think it'll be fine.
It's getting heavily downvoted across the board.
That was not a good trailer. That was not a good trailer.
Can you explain that?
What?
Why was it downvoted?
Oh, people didn't like it. Like the Dragon Age community didn't like it.
It's not a Dragon Age.
Yeah, it's not.
It was a really strange way to debut the characters.
Really? Okay.
Because Dragon Age is not that upbeat.
Yeah, it was very odd.
It was a really odd trailer. I think when we actually see the gameplay and stuff, it'll be fine. I'm hoping. But like that trailer was not good. That was not like an encouraging showing from BioWare there. Perfect Dark looked awesome. Holy shit, Perfect Dark looked awesome.
Yeah. Yeah.
I'm really intrigued by the Atomfall game from Rebellion. Because like at first I saw it and I'm like, oh, it's probably gonna be Sniper Elite, and then I saw more and I'm like, oh, it's gonna be Zombie Army because they make Zombie Army too, right?
Yeah.
Yes, that's correct.
And then it wasn't either, and I was like, oh, well, this is cool. Doom looks great. Like really, really, really excited for Doom as an FPS kind of guy. Assassin's Creed looked way better than I was expecting Assassin's Creed Shadows to look. Like, that kind of blew me away. Like, I saw the game and I'm like, oh, I wonder which game in Japan this is, and then I saw the Hidden Blade and I'm like, holy fuck, this is Assassin's Creed? So like that was really cool. Metal Gear Solid, none of the previous trailers looked bad, but looking at this one, it was like a step up from the previous showings of Gears of War, or not Gears of War, Metal Gear. Flintlock looks awesome. Looks better than it did before. Mecha Break. That was the I thought it was Gundam straight up, and I was like, oh, they got the Gundam game that Bandai isn't putting on the console, and then it wasn't. And I was like, oh, well, this still looks really cool. It's still a shame that they can't get name brand Gundam on the console, but this looks really cool. Avowed looked awesome.
Yes.
Like, way better. Can't wait for the stuff tomorrow. Stalker 2 looked really good.
Yes.
South of Midnight, I wish there was a little bit more gameplay in that trailer, but what we saw looked really freaking hype.
Now, I just want to get your opinion on something with the game. What did you think of like that whole stop motion thing and like the cutscene?
So I get what they're going for. They're trying to make it look claymation. I don't vibe with it.
You see,
I understand it. It's the same problem that and a lot of people do love it, right? Like a lot of people love that kind of stuff. Like people really liked the like animation style Miles Morales and Spider-Man outfits in the Spider-Man games, where the outfits are at a different frame rate than the actual game, and it makes them look like they're from like a cartoon. I think it was the Spider-Verse one specifically.
Okay.
Yeah.
I feel that it looks jarring in a game, though I was happy that in South of Midnight it was constrained to specifically the cutscenes.
I'll agree.
Like it was not in the gameplay.
I was kind of. I mean, I do like that stuff that you're talking about, like claymation and whatnot.
Yeah.
It wasn't like, again, I'm not one to like be like, oh, it's so jarring and whatnot, but it did kind of seem it was an interesting decision that they made for it.
Exactly.
But
I don't think they pulled it off very well in that. But like I get what they're going for. It's a cool creative choice.
Yes.
I'm not going to disagree with the creative choice. It doesn't affect me that. If it was like that in gameplay, then I'd have a little bit of a problem. But like I get what they're going for in the cutscenes. I'm not a huge fan, but it's not something that I'm like, this is bad. It's just something that I'm kind of like, I get the art style. Let's see, what else? The Diablo 4 trailer was disgusting. In a good way. It did make me want to throw up. Which is what they were going for. They did it with the initial launch for Diablo 4. With that trailer. And I can't wait to hop back into Diablo 4. I will almost certainly be grabbing that. I jumped out of my seat with Age of Mythology Retold because holy crap, did that look good. Like, as someone like Dots, who played a crap ton of Age of Mythology in middle school, loved that.
Did you see like all that cracking on the ground and like the shaking? I'm like, oh, that looks so sweet.
It looks so good. Shattered Space looked really good. And Life is Strange is a series I need to play. I know I need to play. I own them all. And I know the basic premise of them. It's something that I would love. I just haven't played them. And Life is Strange Double Exposure is once again something that's like, yep, I need to play this franchise. Another great reminder.
It's one of my favorite games, dude. I love.
Yeah. I have them all installed. I need to get them at some point, but right now I'm just like not in the mood for something that isn't me like absolutely destroying something with like an assault rifle or something. Like I am in a shooter state of mind right now.
You see, that's why I thought Winterboro would have been up your alley.
Listen, I saw Winterboro and I was like, man, I know several people who this game is going to be their absolute jam. Like that game was like the indie darling of the show. You know what I mean? Like that was understandable. But yeah, I really felt like they were missing something along the lines of bringing the backwards compatibility program back, or getting like Final Fantasy, or just something really, really, really big that would have like to capstone it all off. Does that make sense? That's why I give it a 9 out of 10. It was so good. There was just like one. Well, there was like the two elements missing, right? Like where the hell is the Call of Duty? Like the Call of Duty's on Game Pass. Where's like Prototype on Game Pass or Spyro or shit like that? And then the like there's that like one more like kind of third party or platform style thing to like cap them off.
Yeah, I'm with you on that. I was pretty sure that they were gonna have something along those lines. But
and like I could have been like, oh, if it had come in like a blog post before the show, like last week at some point, that would have made sense, right? Like they don't want to take up time at the show to talk about like what could be handled in a blog post with games coming to Game Pass. But then it's like, where are they?
Well, I mean,
Now I'm like,
unless
maybe
they have
in the extended this week, maybe we'll see it this week, and then I'll be like, oh, okay, whatever, fine. But like, if we get to next week's show and we haven't heard anything, I'm going to be confused.
It's either, you see, that's what I'm kind of expecting too, is that they're going to show it like, or reveal that information at like some kind of another day during like the next week or two, as you're suggesting. I mean, I would be surprised if they held something like that off until like Gamescom.
Yeah, I don't know. That's not as big of a splash as this. Like, if it's not here, then like, what are we waiting for?
I mean, they must have some kind of a reason, you know, because I know that they do want to get that into their back catalog, obviously, especially with Game Pass. So, you know, what is the deal? I mean, that's a great question.
Yeah,
that's a great question. Anything else, Crusader?
That's it from me.
All right, so you're giving it a 9, is what you're
9.
saying. All right, that's fair. That's fair. Yeah, seeing some. Let's see, gun. 9 from you, 9 from MLD, 7.5 from Dots. Shockley gave it a pretty good score overall from what I remember. And yeah, Grimes, let's go over to you next. I'm really looking forward to hear what you have to say on things. I'll give my 2 cents after the fact, but yeah, Grimes, please take it away. What was your thoughts on the Xbox showcase? It seems like everybody thought it was pretty damn good.
Yeah, absolutely. So I'm gonna start with a score, and I have to agree with Crusader and MOD and give it a 9. It's just, there are a few little things that I didn't like, but not enough to dock it, you know, too many points. But I'm probably gonna start with the order in which the games were shown, and I'll keep it short because, you know, you guys have already touched on quite a few things. But Doom: The Dark Ages, like, you guys have touched on quite a lot about the game, but it's more of the same. Feels just like the last 2 games, and I mean it in a good way. I love a new weapon variety. That shield, chainsaw, boomerang, you guys talked about it. It's so sick. The skulls gun, that one's really cool too. Id just know what they're doing. They're so good at it. The music too, and I don't even listen to rock music, and now I enjoy the Doom soundtracks. They never disappoint. And you know, obviously riding the dragon at the end. Now that's what I'm talking about. You know, no one was expecting that. Completely different from previous games, and who knows where that's gonna. I mean, I just can't wait to do that. So looking forward to that game. Don't even care that it's coming to PlayStation the same day. And listen, the Bethesda devs were unhappy that Activision games were being released on PlayStation. So I can see why they would release this game on PlayStation. Like you guys have already mentioned, it's a franchise that has been released on PlayStation before, so it makes sense to release it. But also, I can see this other scenario in which Xbox gamers complain that PlayStation got the superior version, having released later than the Xbox version. You know, us having an exclusivity for like 6 months or a year, and then Xbox players become the testing ground and PlayStation gets the superior version. By releasing it on the same day, it's everyone gets the same exact version, and we're actually getting it on Game Pass. So who cares? PlayStation gamers, they pay for the full version. We get it on Game Pass. And, you know, I just can't wait to dismember more demons. Moving on to State of Decay. I never doubted the in-labs team. State of Decay is such a cool, unique game. Unfortunately, not many people, like MLD mentioned it. It's a game that not a lot of people played for many different reasons. It was the bugs, technical issues. Not everyone is into base building, especially in zombie games. But I love that thing. I love the base building. I love the survival aspects of State of Decay. Completely different to its competition, and the coalition. You can definitely tell from the trailer that the coalition team helped them with development. And we know how good they are making games. You know, just another game I'm excited to play. The whole the trailer also felt very Walking Dead. So yeah, I'm looking forward to playing it. And you know, I have to agree with Crusader again about Dragon Age. Now listen, I love this series. I've played all 3 games. Origins is of course my favorite game by far. Um, but this trailer, I just don't know how I feel about it. It was so weird. I don't even hate the stylized look, but I don't understand it. I would have rather a bit more the realistic look. And does anyone know? Is it still a co-op game? Is it going to be a
single player? It is completely single player. That is confirmed.
Because I remember they were exploring it, but then it got canceled. Like that idea got canceled.
It was confirmed by Michael Gamble, who is the executive producer at BioWare. He's mostly involved with Mass Effect, but he did provide context that it is a 100% single player experience.
That's good to know. I mean, you know, like it was the only game from one of the few games from the showcase that has me not, you know, I'm not sure, but I want to believe that the team will make a good game and a good Dragon Age game, because the last one was decent, but it also had a lot of issues, and I miss the original Dragon Age games. Like the 1 and 2 were so good, and I just hope we see the return of a good BioWare someday. You know, Starfield. I'm glad Starfield is back. I agree with Shockley that it looks like a horror themed expansion. Looked very dark, very Alien and Dead Space like. I'm one of those people that needs to come back to the game. It's a game that, you know, you can get lost doing random shit for hours. It's a game that you know, I've spent 200 hours in Starfield, and I barely touched the main campaign. Like I think I've only done like 2 or 3 missions from the campaign, and I've just like been building my bases all across the galaxy, just exploring planets, and I need to go back and finish the story and try, you know, looking forward to the expansion when it comes out. Fallout 76. You can now, you're gonna be able to play as a ghoul next year. That's cool.
Yeah.
You know, I'm happy they're experimenting with new things. That new things like a new map for adding to the game or a new area. You know, I tried 76 a few years back for like 5 minutes, and then I installed it right away. It wasn't my cup of tea, but I know the team has worked extremely hard to improve the experience, and I keep hearing people raving about it. So maybe, uh, you know, I might go back to it eventually when I have time. But happy for all, like, what, 17 million people or like close to 18 million people are playing it. So I'm sure we're gonna be happy. Expedition 33 looked really cool. Definitely gonna play it. It's a turn-based game as well, and it's very Final Fantasy, in my opinion. We shall see, but yeah, that game looked cool, and I could be wrong, but maybe it was on Game Pass. I forget, because there were so many of the games that they announced are going to be coming on to Game Pass. But yeah, looked like a cool game. South of Midnight. We knew so little about this game, and last year's trailer, although it did show us a little bit, didn't do enough justice. I think it gave us more questions than answers, but now I can say most of our content with what we saw today. The artistic frame that you guys just talked about, it me personally, it doesn't bother me, and like you guys touched on, it's only going to be in the cutscenes. It's not going to be affecting any of the gameplay, so I don't think it's just like watching like a short film between gameplay, or like, you know, short, yeah, like short stories between, or cutscenes, whatever you want to call it, between the gameplay. So I don't think the cutscenes are gonna last very long. So who cares if the frame rate it's you know, choppy. But I really like the combat sequence. That was pretty neat. It reminded me a bit of a Forspoken, how the combat was, especially with the magic and the fighting. But it looks cool. And I know we had some concerns regarding the dialogue, but from what they've shown, it looked fine to me. I forgot what company was involved with, you know, like the theme and like dialogue that you guys were worried about, but it looked fine.
Oh, Sweet Baby?
Yeah, Sweet Baby, yeah.
I mean, it's hard to really tell right now. All I can really say is artistically it looks pretty decent. I mean, they only showed us snippets of gameplay. Like, I'm not really sure if it's like meant to be more open world or like how the level design is. So I would really like to see a lot more of the game. But it's interesting. It's very interesting.
Yeah. Now, a game I have absolutely no interest in, and in my opinion, they spent way too long in it, was Warcraft.
Okay.
Yeah, you know, it's cool to hear there's a new expansion coming and whatnot, but I just think that announcement should have been saved for Gamescom. I just don't think today's audience, was for Warcraft. But yeah.
I mean, if they had packaged that with like, oh, it's gonna be on Xbox, then
yeah, exactly. Yeah.
Maybe. But wasn't it just like a CGI trailer too?
It'll be far too close. It's launching on August 26th, so like that's like potentially before Gamescom.
Yeah.
Oh, is it?
Yeah, there's no way. Like it had to be here.
Yeah, I mean, like I completely missed the release date because that's how little I cared about it. But yeah.
Plus, I think it was good to make it nice with Blizzard. Just show like that they're all under the same umbrella.
Yeah, keep in mind there's no BlizzCon either,
gesture.
right?
It was a nice gesture.
Yeah, there's no BlizzCon,
point.
and I mean, like it's a game that has like almost 2 million active daily players. So like, yeah. Kind of associating it with your brand and making people come to you for that is like a big deal. It is. It goes back and forth between first and second most popular MMO.
Mm-hmm.
Basically all the time between it and Final Fantasy XIV. So, like, it's in the same vein as having Sea of Thieves and Fallout 76 at your shows.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
And you know, speaking about another trailer that I don't think it should have been there. I know you guys really liked it, but Snake Eater, we've already seen plenty of it, and I don't think they showed anything new.
They have an extended debut of it on Tuesday.
Oh, did they?
Yeah, like Microsoft has like the marketing rights for this game. So
yeah, they're
showing an extended gameplay look on Tuesday.
And is it really your favorite like Metal Gear Solid game?
I haven't played them. It's DotzRTS.
Oh yeah, I mean like but like yeah, I think DotzRTS and Shockley really liked.
I know that it's like insanely popular. The third one is insanely popular.
Yeah, that's insane. Like for me personally, I would say Metal Gear Solid and Metal Gear Solid Sons of Liberty are my favorite. The other one, like I've tried Snake Eater before, and I didn't really like it that much. But
yeah,
and plus,
I think they're trying to be like, we have large Japanese IP because it's true. Like they have Metal Gear from Konami. Like that's a big deal for their brand.
Although you cannot trust Konami these days, so who knows how it will turn up. But hopefully, it's a good game.
Mm-hmm.
And yeah, also a game that I completely forgot about was Flintlock.
Mm-hmm.
And I was pleasantly surprised by this new gameplay trailer. It looks like they definitely worked on many of people's concerns with the combat. That it looked generic and it looked very Assassin's Creedy. But nah, I feel like people were wrong. I really like what I saw. The gunplay looked awesome, and it's another game coming to Game Pass, which we already knew about it, but yeah, I'm definitely gonna play it. Looks awesome.
All right.
And yeah, it's just like so many games, man. Like, who knows? I don't think all those games that they showed today. It's probably gonna take us 5 years
now
to play them all.
Grimes, there was a game on there, an indie game that I was actually curious about your thoughts. I don't know if you caught it. It was by the developer of the Artful Escape mixtape.
Yeah, I was gonna talk. Yeah, I loved it.
Is that the like Life is Strange-esque-ish game?
Yep.
Okay.
It looked.
Because I saw it and I was like, oh, they got Life is Strange-ish at this showcase, and then they had actual Life is Strange, and I was like, oh, okay.
Dude, I mean, it's got like this 80s feel.
Yeah.
and yeah, it reminds me of the original Life is Strange. I really enjoy. I mean, like with Life is Strange, I enjoy the character relationships, the stories, the worlds. This one seems like a carbon copy of Life is Strange, but with a music touch on it. I feel like I forget what they said, but like the music can change how the world evolves, or I need to go back to it.
Well, it's heavily influenced by the soundtrack. I mean,
yeah.
I wouldn't say to the same degree as what The Artful Escape was, but it definitely has, like, they're playing a lot with the soundtrack for sure.
Yeah. And then, you know, Crusader touched on Life is Strange. I don't know if you guys, I mean, who else has played the original Life of Strange?
I'll be honest, like the
Life is Strange.
They actually a good friend of mine, like he really likes them, but personally they do nothing like for me, like that kind of genre. But yeah, I can see why, you know, there's a lot of, you know, you get to know the characters pretty well. There's a lot built up, and I understand that, and the interactivity, but it's done really nothing. Like, it's not my type of genre per se.
Well, I don't know if this is a spoiler, but the character in this new game, it's the same character as the original game, Max.
All right.
So she's coming back in this one, and yeah, I just love of the everything they tell in those games. I actually didn't like, you know, Life is Strange 2. There was one with the two brothers, which I found very annoying, but the original game and the first expansion or side story were really cool. You know, another indie game I really like was Winterborough. It's this cute and fun, but also emotionally dark story with survival mechanics. It also has a art style very similar to Pentiment, which it's one of my favorite games. So I'm gonna play Winterborough. One game that I thought it was gonna be, I was excited when I first saw it, but then I saw it's a 5v5 game, so, and it was a completely turn off. Was Fragpunk. I don't know if anyone else saw that one game.
So yeah, yeah, that's
it's
the hero
one with
shooter.
The cards. Yeah, it's like the cards thing was. It's a really nice idea. It can help you change environments. Like you can have like grass hide you, or you know, like the bubble heads. It looked like a cool game until they announced it was a 5v5, and yeah, like many of you guys, I'm just done with with hero games, or 5v5 hero games.
I mean, is this a free-to-play game, do you know?
I don't think they said anything about that.
I'll be curious.
It should be a free-to-play game because it's really hard to compete.
Well, I guess PlayStation has Concord, right? So
yeah,
and that's a full-price game. So
but look at Overwatch. So many people hate Overwatch too, and it's still such a popular game.
Well, that's why I'm very curious about how the hero shooters are going to be doing now. This one caught my eye, not so much for the way it looks, but just because of, again, like you said, the cards, right? You break them and it changes like the gameplay on the fly. And I thought that was actually pretty cool. But again, hero shooters seem to be kind of waning right now. But I think it could be interesting with what it could bring.
That kind of reminded me of Titanfall, though.
Yes.
Remember that?
I liked that. I liked the burn cards.
So I mean, like, hopefully it can survive. Yeah, like you guys are saying, hopefully it can survive.
That said, I would rather play Overwatch than Concord or the one you guys just talked about.
Yeah.
It's
No,
a
yeah,
pretty
for
crowded
sure.
genre. Like, I don't know.
I just
A lot of
don't.
people yeah.
I just don't
Oh.
like the genre personally, but
Me neither.
a lot of people seem to like it. But I haven't seen the same type of energy that it did back in like 2016, 17. You know?
Yeah, these games are like at least 5 years too late.
The only game I really enjoyed was Bleeding Edge, but that one was short lived.
Too, but it didn't have enough content to keep
Yeah.
it going. I played a lot in the first 2 months, but at that
Right.
point, you kind of just drop off because you know the not enough playlists and whatnot. I mean, it was a small passion project team,
Yeah.
but that said, you kind of need that constant, steady support, and the game unfortunately didn't have that.
What I don't understand is how Microsoft is still selling that game when you can probably barely find players playing it.
I mean, it's on Game Pass. Server costs are probably pretty low.
But I'm just saying it's on Steam. Like you can buy it on Steam if you wanted to.
Oh, okay.
So that's like it. I just don't understand it. But anyway,
I'd have to
I
look at the
digress.
player counts more, but yeah, I understand what you're saying. Yep.
And you know, with Perfect Dark, not what I was expecting, to be honest. In my mind, I saw it as this dark, less futuristic game, and not so colorful. But I must admit, it looks cool. Like you guys already touched on, very Deus Ex meets Mirror's Edge. In the traversal parkour stuff, but I dig it. And man, how wrong are all those people that were putting it out there? Perfect Dark is in rough shape. There's trouble with the development, but yeah, they probably saw a build that was 8 or 10 months old. And as we know, games don't start getting polished or get textures added to until the last stretch of the development cycle. So like I mean, yeah, the game is still a long way to go, and it looked cool. We'll see how it ends up, but it also looked it's a bit of a stretch, but also it reminded me of Half-Life a little bit as well.
Oh yeah.
But I don't know. Bad boy, like Crusader said that that Diablo trailer looks so good. Blizzard are just so damn good at making cinematic trailers.
Yeah, when's that expansion supposed to come out? Do you know?
Crusader would probably know.
October, I believe.
Okay, that would make sense.
I mean,
Let me see. It was supposed to come out this summer, but they delayed one of the seasons so that they could do that crafting overhaul that they just released. Or not crafting, loot overhaul. It's called the Vessel of Hatred, right?
Yeah.
1 sec.
But yeah, it was so brutal. Like you mentioned Crusader. And I love it. I had a blast playing Diablo 4. Unfortunately, I sort of got burnt out after I reached like the highest tier, and it just gets boring. Like there's nothing else to do. So I don't know if I'll go back, but
well, give yourself a breather. Give some time, right? Because I know sometimes I get like really enveloped in games for like let's say a month, but then like I gotta go to something else, something very different from that game because I just get burnt out altogether. So yeah, just give yourself some time. You'll get back. I have a feeling you will.
And then Fable. What's there to say? It's very British. Writing and humor are on point. I love the characters, the environment. and everything else. I just can't wait to play it next year. Just British people, they just know their humor, and I know it's gonna be a good game. It's gonna be Game of the Year contender next year. Let's see. Yeah, I already talked about Winterborough. Yeah, it's a game that I'm looking forward to. You guys already talked about Indiana Jones 2 Lens, but Machine Games are absolutely nailed the tone of a game. This will hands down be the best indie game ever made. And just like Dot said, the cutscenes made me feel like I was watching a movie. The grenade scene, yeah, it was brilliant, and well done to the writers. And Microsoft, if you're listening, please have Machine Games work on the next James Bond game with Sean Connery. I mean,
Connery's dead, unfortunately.
So what? You don't think like he can be brought? I mean, except if you don't do Sean Connery.
You're just talking about like his likeness, but okay.
Yeah.
Yeah, of course.
Yeah, I'm talking. Yeah.
Now we're bringing him back from the dead, boys. He's coming back for another James Bond movie. Let's go.
With some AI voice, you never know.
No, but okay, but after Sean Connery, I don't like Daniel Craig as a James Bond at all. My personal favorite James Bond is Pierce Brosnan. That's the one I grew up with, and I really liked all his movies. But it has to be Sean Connery. But I feel like Machine Games will nail a James Bond game, and we haven't had one in years. Does anyone remember when was the last James Bond game? So we're probably due for...
The licensing is a nightmare, though, from what I hear.
Well, now Amazon owns it now.
Yeah.
So, and Microsoft and Amazon seems like they're friendly, so who knows?
I really don't know too much about their relationship, to be honest.
Well, I'm just saying, like Fallout, Fallout, and although the deal was done before the acquisition, I feel like, but they seem like they're friendly, so maybe they can work out something. But I would love to see a James Bond by Machine Games, because they just nail, like I said, the tone of his game is perfect.
You wouldn't want them to finish the Wolfenstein trilogy?
I mean, of course, but maybe they can do the James Bond game after finishing the Wolfenstein trilogy.
Okay.
Or maybe they can start writing the material for James Bond while they're finishing Wolfenstein. We'll see. But also, do you guys think it's gonna make it this year, because that November-December lineup is already stacked?
Well,
go ahead.
Not to interrupt. It just, I mean, that was one thing that I was surprised about, that they didn't have like a set date revealed for the Indiana Jones game. Just that it was still 2024. I still think it nails it. I'm just kind of curious when they slot it in, though.
I mean, people did speculate December, which kind of people are kind of saying it's already going to be Call of Duty in October, Avowed in November, Indiana December. Oh, yeah, and Flight Sim in November as well.
So, I mean, actually, it wouldn't be too far off to say, like, they'll have something in Gamescom, right? I mean, it is a European developer after all, right? So, and yeah, maybe a December, like an early December release could do it. I mean, they already have a couple of games seem to be releasing. You got COD in late October, and then flight sim, and then rumored now Avowed for mid-November as well. So yeah.
I feel like, and then Clockwork Revolutions it's supposed to release this year, but I wouldn't be surprised if it gets pushed to next year to give some breathing room to these games.
Possibly.
It was never announced for this year. It always said in due time.
Oh, I thought it was at 2024, but maybe you're
It
right.
looked ready. That's what it was. It looked a lot like closer than what we thought, I guess, because it was a complete surprise, that game.
Yeah. I would guess late 2025, maybe even like first half 2026.
But I mean, hey, they can space them out. I have no problem because, again, there's still games that we're, have question marks on that we haven't seen in a while. So, hey, that's fine. Give it some room.
And then, like you guys already touched on, Wu-Chang Fallen Feathers.
Mm-hmm.
That game got my attention. And look, Xbox fam, we don't need a Stellar Blade anymore. Here's our Stellar Blade. This game looks very similar to it, and it looks sick. I think what did they call it? A Souls-light type of game, right?
Like, yes. Like I own Stellar Blade, so that's why I can say like it's good. I mean, I'm still in the early on in it, but it's a good game. I can tell you that.
Yeah. But like I think like during the trailer, instead of calling it a Souls-like, I think they called it a Souls-light. Like it's a bit easier than a Souls-like Souls game. Which I guess it's a new term, but honestly, it's welcome because it's welcomed with open arms, because as much as I love the Dark Souls games, I just don't have the patience or energy to play them. So a much easier game, it's very much welcome. But yeah, do you like Stellar Blade, by the way? Because it's a game that I would definitely pick up if it came to, on Steam or Xbox.
It's not as punny. Like, I mean, it's okay. I know the Souls term gets thrown around. It's Souls light, yes. But like it is a pretty good game. It's got a really good soundtrack. Artistically, it's a good game. It plays very well. Yeah, I mean, I would recommend it for sure. Yeah.
And then there's no need to talk about Assassin's Creed. I mean, I know people have been begging for a Japanese game in the Assassin's Creed world for decades. I think ever since the Ezio games, people have been asking for a Japanese game. I like what I saw from the trailer. My only issue with it has nothing to do with the game actually, but it's that we're getting too many Assassin's Creed games way too often, and I feel like the series needs a break. I feel like most gamers feel the same way, thus the games don't sell that well. But I would love it to do for it to sell well, and I think I'm gonna pick it up when it comes out. But and actually, I hope Ubisoft has learned its lessons, because all the billion side quests they give you in like all those previous games just makes me to not finish the games. I just get another game that makes me burn out. It's the Assassin's Creed games, just way too many things to do, and I haven't finished any of the last 3 Assassin's Creed games, but we'll see. Stalker 2, I can't wait to play it. We'll most definitely buy it. just to support the studio, given what they've had to go through the last few years and still are dealing with today. But it's on Game Pass. Day one just looks awesome. And like you guys talked about it also looks a bit more polished. So
it does, yeah.
Yeah, I'm gonna play it. And lastly, the one more thing. Gears of War, E-Day. Take my money now. Thank you so much. Just like MLD and you Invader said, us OG Gears of War fans have been asking for an origin story forever. I've mentioned this here thousands of times, but Gears of War 1 is a game that made me get an Xbox 360. I was just so blown away and felt in love with the game. And I love the trailer. As soon as I saw Marcus Phoenix, as soon as I saw Marcus Phoenix fighting the Locust, I knew it was an origin story. But my question to you guys is, do you think it will be an open world, semi-open world, or linear?
Semi-open, but mostly linear.
I have a feeling it's going to be linear. Like,
yeah, mostly, yeah.
Because listen, me personally, I would love to see an open world. I just want to explore the city before all the ruins. I've always wanted a Horizon type of Gears of War game. Obviously not as big as the Horizon games, because those are massive. But just want to explore the world and with Unreal Engine 5, it is possible. I don't know if any of you guys tried the Matrix Unreal 5 demo from last year, but the tech allows you to build hyper-realistic cities that don't eat too much power, and you don't even have to explore every single building, but just have them just have cubes that look like buildings, like hyper-realistic buildings. That's what I want. It's like to have a city before the world turns to ruins. I know we're probably not gonna see that, and it's gonna be either linear or semi-open, maybe like Gears 5. But I love a trailer. Even Cliff Bleszinski approved of a trailer, so that's a good sign. And who needs a Gears of War remaster now that we have the origin story?
I still think there's a place for it. But regardless, I do think that this was a nice, to me, a nice surprise overall. It's very much welcome in my opinion.
Absolutely. And I loved, when you start Gears of War 1 in the prison and you have so many questions of what's going on. I know MLD said he read the books. I've never read the books. But maybe I should read the books, but I just love the world and want to explore more.
Read The Slab. That's literally the book where Marcus was put into jail.
Is that the first book? Or
No, but it leads right into the part 1 because it's him actually in jail while the Cog's doing other things in the meantime. So it's not just him there's multiple storylines.
So also another thing, imagine if they actually do, that could be a new trilogy
I think that's what they're actually trying to do.
I think
to be
so,
honest,
easily.
Yeah.
The
Because,
way,
yes, sir. Go ahead.
oh no, sorry, it was just like the way that like I'm reading like how they're interacting like with people on the news. I just like it's an interesting like first of all it's an interesting pivot from where they were before. Like why wouldn't you finish off the trilogy, with Gears 6, right? And number two, if they were gonna do something like this, I think they know like a lot of Gears of War fans, want something like this, and I think they're picking a point because again, the you have about from E-Day to the events of the first Gears of War game, you have about 14, 15 years in between. So you have a lot of space in between to play with.
Yeah.
So I think strategically, like they're doing this on purpose, because number one, they know that like a lot of Gears of War fans want this and want it to be explored, and number two, if it's really successful, like I think they took the time to actually plan out a like a trilogy or at least a rough draft for one, anyways. But
For sure.
Mm-hmm.
But yeah, I'm here for it. I love everything Gears of War and looking forward to it. And then lastly, on like the disappointments, I mean, you guys already talked about it. Not showing or not announcing more Activision games coming to Game Pass was a bit of a letdown. But it's not a big deal. I'm sure we'll get them very soon, maybe at Gamescom. I wanted to see Replace 2. It's a game I've been looking forward to for a while. I was hoping we would see that Wu-Tang game, because I want to know what it's all about. No one, no one knows anything about that game besides that Wu-Tang. It's a Wu-Tang game. So I want to know more about it. But yeah, it was a good show. I don't know if it was one of our best ever, but I really enjoyed it. And like I said, I'll give it a 9 out of 10.
All right. No, that's pretty in depth there, Grimes. Yeah, no, I mean that's a good score. I mean a lot of the guys here, 9 out of 10. I know in the chat a lot of people are giving it like perfect scores or near perfect or even above perfect, which again it says a lot. A lot of people are pretty psyched about what they saw, and again I don't blame them. I thought that, I mean, I'll give my thoughts, but overall, I mean, if I look at it from like just a general overview, I think it touched on a lot of different genres and it was very strategic, and I thought that I think overall, I think if you were in a group of people, I think a lot of people, would have been happy. As, again, with this crew, right? Like, a lot of people had different, saw different strengths and weaknesses. Again, just for me, I'll do a quick overview. I liked, my highlights were personally, again, Doom the Dark Ages. I thought it looked amazing. It looks ready to go, and it just gets me excited. It gets me really wanting to engage, and, it gets me really hyped. I liked a lot of what I saw from like the mech gameplay, the shield, just everything. It looked like a lot of fun. A really cool ride. Black Ops. I've always been a Call of Duty fan. Over the past couple of years, kind of in and out. But again, with Game Pass, I'm hard pressed not to try it. It's day one, so that's really got me excited. Let's see, what else? I have a slew of notes here. Gears of War E-Day. Like, I was not expecting that. I think we all knew that we would see something Gears of War related, and we got that, and I'm glad that I got a surprise out of it. Yeah, I'm really looking forward to see the beginning of, like, the Locust invasion, and, again, how they, draw this out, and, what they're going for, the Coalition. As well, Avowed. I'm really hyped for Avowed. I can't wait to play it. Hopefully it's later this year. It looks like there was a tease and kind of got cut. But we'll be going into, I think they have more of a deep dive of it tomorrow. Age of Mythology Retold, like Dots. I'm really I do really like RTS games, and it's coming out on both Xbox and PC at the same time from the looks of it. It'll be out in September, and can't wait to check that out. Indiana Jones, yeah, I would have liked to see a little more gameplay, but overall, I really want to play that. As well, Stalker 2, we know we're getting that in early September. Really hyped. Perfect Dark. So, I mean, we figured that we were going to see something from it from what we were hearing. We hadn't seen it in a while, and I was I wouldn't say I was worried, but I was very curious. And lo and behold, they showed the trailer. I liked it. Like a lot of the other guys said, I really enjoyed it. I thought that the gameplay looks really good. I like a lot of the gadgets. World looks cool. As far as the character model for Joanna Dark, looks okay. I kind of preferred like the older model per se. I wish they kind of like, I don't know, like I missed the sexy Joanna Dark. I don't know. She looks good. I'm just like, I don't know. That's just my personal like opinion. I thought she got downgraded a little bit personally. But again, we got to see more. We got to see more of her. But I am looking forward to Perfect Dark for sure. What else? Fable, I'll be honest, I'm always excited to see Fable, but what they showed I thought was okay, but I wish that they showed more like more actual like gameplay again. I don't know, like it always seems like they show like a lot of like the CGI renders, but they like go half and half with the gameplay, and I want to see like again just more gameplay interaction as well. South of Midnight, actually I was surprised seeing it at the show. The gameplay actually looks fine, but like I alluded to before, the stop motion thing, I'll have to agree with Crusader, like it is kind of noticeable, and it is their choice, and we got to see more of it, but I don't know, I wasn't a big fan of that, I'll admit, but it looks kind of interesting, I gotta admit. It looks really interesting. What else? I'll admit, like, some of the indies that they showed, I wasn't really big on. Like, I know some people like the Winterborough, I wasn't as excited for it. Fragpunk, again, kind of mixed about. Wu Chang, Fallen Feathers. I thought it was, again, it's interesting, but would like to see some gameplay of that. Flintlock, I actually think it looks fine. Looks good. We're getting it July 18th. It's going to be in Game Pass. Looks good. Expedition 33, I think, looks fantastic. Solid gameplay. Again, like the JRPG and the visuals. That's really surprised me. I have to check out more of that game. Otherwise, yeah, Flight Simulator looks cool. And I thought, again, they touched on a lot of different things with the Warcraft expansion, Diablo, and so on. Mixtape I thought was cool, very visually interesting, from Beethoven Dinosaur. Otherwise, I don't know, again, a lot of the indies just didn't do it for me this time around. Again, like, I know a lot of people like enjoyed like what was shown there. I don't know, these ones didn't grab me for this show for whatever reason. But I do like my indies, you guys know that. I like supporting those devs. But overall, what would I give this show? What would I give this show? Oh yeah, sorry, before I forget, the Starfield update. Yeah, you know, that's cool. The Starfield expansion looked pretty cool. I'm with MLD, you know, it's always you know, it's great to see more content for that, and you know, we'll be getting that later in the year. It's great to see support for that. But yeah, so what would my score for this be? I'm gonna go in between the guys. I'm gonna go with an 8. And for me, like, guys, I'm a harsher critic than some. Keep that in mind. I've always had lower scores, so, you know, don't really critique me on that, honestly. Again, I thought that it was a really solid first party showing, without a doubt. I just thought that maybe some of the third party or some of the indies weren't as strong personally, but otherwise solid. I thought it was a really solid show, and they did a good job. Now, I guess some of the questions, yeah, would I've liked to seen the backwards compatible games? Yeah, I was with Crusader on that. I would have liked to have seen that, but again, we might get that in the coming days, right? Maybe some other release dates. What else? And I guess, just some curiosity about some other games, right? And, again, it's just curiosity. Like, again, Clockwork Revolution. What about Project Mara, right? I mean, I know Hellblade just came out, but hey, I'm curious about that one. Obviously, Playground is busy with Fable, but are we going to be seeing Forza Horizon? I don't know. Are we going to see it this year at all, or is it going to be saved for next year? We'll see. Halo. I was actually kind of hoping for something Halo related, even if it was like Halo Wars 3, something like that. Just something, right? What else? Double Fine. I was actually really expecting Double Fine to be there, personally, to show off their game. They've been kind of quiet.
Same.
And, so, because, again, it was kind of talked about, too, that they were, like, basically since the beginning of the year that they were going to drop something, so I was surprised not to see anything Double Fine related. I have been one to say, like, I was glad to see that, they did get a lot of the games that we didn't, they announced back like 4 years ago. We saw more of it, which I am glad, but I would have liked to have seen, again, like another, like, studio, like, internal studio just, like, announce something, but again, say la vie, whatever. But yeah, overall, I thought it was good. I thought it was a really good show, and I think it pleases a lot of people overall. But yeah, guys, that does it for me. Yeah, solid 8. Guys, anything else to add? Dots, MLD, Shockley, anything?
I just want to ask, is the game Replaced, is that published by Xbox? Or is that just a third-party deal?
I think it's a third-party deal, to be honest. I don't think that's a... I'd have to look more into it, but if I was to go off the top of my head, I think it's just a third-party deal.
But it was coming to Game Pass day one.
Yeah.
Right. Okay.
But but the thing is, again, we got these games, and that's why I'm not too hassled, because we got these games, and then, like, there's other games that are in development, right, that we know about. So I'm not too worried. But, there's always something, like personal preference, right, that we would like to see announced or know more about. But otherwise, I thought it was a pretty good show. Let's see. Okay, guys, I think that about does it, really. I've said my spiel. I think we covered... I think we did a pretty good job going through the show. Our interests anyways. Yeah, basically we touched... I think we went through our general impressions and just... Yeah, our overall thoughts on the Xbox Game Showcase. And yeah, I don't know, it seems like we're pretty pleased with what we saw today. Maybe a few caveats, but again, you get that with any show. Really. And, overall, guys, good show tonight. Loved your opinions, loved your thoughts, and, we all got something to look forward to from the looks of it. And, yeah, we got a lot more shows to cover throughout, like, the next couple of weeks. I think the Ubisoft show is a couple of days away, and there's a few others. I would talk about the Summer Game Fest show, but man, that was a snoozer. Oh, man.
Oh, was it? I didn't even know.
Well, there was like one or two announcements, but like it wasn't very good. Grimes. Look it up, you'll see for yourself. But yeah, guys, thank you to everyone that tuned in tonight. Huge shout out to all the spectators and chat participants. If you enjoyed our discussion tonight about the Xbox Game Showcase, then please consider dropping a like, sharing out the show, and of course subbing over to the channel. I'll go over to the outros. Crusader had to duck out early, but you know where to find him. His details are down in the comments, down in the description. Sorry. Grimes, why don't you lead us off here with the outros? Again, good show from you tonight. Where can everybody follow you?
Yeah, loved everyone's opinions on the show today, and you can find me on Twitter at Fake Mayhem OG as always. Good show.
All right, for sure. Eric Shockley, buddy. Hey, I thought you had some wonderful opinions yourself, and loved your takes. Where can everybody follow you?
He's muted.
Shockley, you gotta unmute yourself.
Oh, sorry, my bad. As always, you can find me at ShockNero on Twitter, EZShock on Xbox Live. But yeah, good show tonight. Awesome show today for the showcase. But see you later.
Indeed. Next up, DotzRTS. Hey, again, good show, good stuff tonight. Where can all these wonderful people follow you?
Yeah, no, another great Sunday night. You can find me at DotzRTS on Twitter and on Xbox. Yeah, no, I'm happy that we're doing some quality show content, stepping away from all that negativity and whatnot. We've had, couple months or whatnot. Something just a lot of good is really good for the gaming community right now, and I'm happy to see it and be a part of it. So yeah, here's the next week, and catch you all around.
Of course. Next over to the GeneralMLD. Buddy, pal, good show tonight from you as well, and yeah, loved your takes as well. Where can everybody find you?
Oh yeah, great show. You guys can find me at MLD Ghost on Twitter X and Gamertag GhostMLD. And yeah, I'm sure we'll find some more info in the coming week, and we'll be here to talk about it.
Oh, you got that right. And yeah, I'm Invader. You guys can find my content on YouTube at Invader Gaming, as well as, you can search it on a wide variety of other video platforms. I'm kind of everywhere, whether that be YouTube, Rumble, BitChute. I'm on all kinds of different video platforms. But yeah, sub to me. But yeah, really fantastic dialogue from the crew tonight covering the Xbox showcase tonight. And we look forward to, chatting you all here on the next one. And yeah, we'll probably have some other showcases to touch on. Later.